Hello everyone, welcome to Code View. This is the third part of our Flutter introduction series. In this part, we are going to create our Flutter application and also we will be implementing the to-do list applications in this project. So we will be implementing the viewing of the to-do as a list and also we will add the delete functionality in this project. So we can go to video. Firstly, we are going to create the Flutter application. So I choose a folder. You also choose a folder where we need to install. And in the breadcrumb scene there, please type cmd. Then we will open a command prompt window and then type Flutter space create and then give the app name that you required for your application. So I'm just going to set to do and please click enter and wait for the creation process to complete. After that, you will see a folder named to do and you can just go to that folder. You can see that the folder named to do scheme. Okay. Now we're going to go inside the folder and we have got some files which is done by the create application file command. Okay. Now please choose the open with code option. If you are using Android Studio, you can continue with that, no problem. I'm just using this VS Code for my procedure. So you can see that the VS Code has been opened and I have already opened an emulator. And if you don't find it opened, because you can see that a no device button will be there under the VS Code. I have shown it there, you can see, and please click on that. You will get the option to choose the emulator that you want to start, and you can click on the emulator that you need to start. I have clicked one and after a seconds the emulator will open. Okay, please wait for it. And you can see that a lib folder and inside that a main folder, main.dat file. This file contains the basic implementation code they have given us. Okay, this is for the testing purpose they have given this code and which contains a basic application, and that's code I will written in the main.bat file. This file will be called when we run our application. So this is the starting point of the application. Please note that every code with written within will be called first, and you can see the word main function. If you have a basic programming knowledge, you can see that main function will be called first. Okay. Here it contains two widgets, a stateful widget and a stateless widgets. I think you know what is stateful and stateless widgets. We have explained it in the last video. If you didn't see that video, please go and see the second part of this series and you will know what is a stateful widget and a stateless widget. So I'm just removing the comments they have already posted. These comments are very useful. If you created a first application, please read that comment itself. Then also you will get a lot of idea about Flutter application. So these comments are very useful. Then we can continue after removing it. Okay, comments have been removed. Now and I will explain what's the written in this application for just a basic implementation. So we have run the application. You can see that the Flutter basic application has been shown in the right side of the screen, the emulator screen, and you can see that there is a plus button there, and if you click that button, the counter will increase, and when I click the button 1 2 3 etc., the number will be increasing. Okay, this is a simple app they have given to study the basics of Flutter. Okay, and whenever we create an application, we will get this application as the first. So we have a stateless widget there, and then instead the stateless widget we create a material app, and a material app is a material app is a basic Android application app. So this contains a lot of things that are required for an application, and inside that we need to pass a home parameter, and here my home parameter is my home page, which is a stateful widget. So I think you know stateful and stateless widgets, because stateless widget doesn't contain a state and stateful widgets contains a taste. It contains a state. So that's a major difference. Okay. With the help of the state, the counter becomes increasing. When I click the plus button, the counter automatically increased, and the UI changes. You don't know how it changes because of the state of that stateful widget. The UI changes. Okay, When the counter value increases, its state changes. That forces the UI to rebuild the application, and we don't see that. That's the magic. Okay. Now you can see that there are two widgets, the stateless widget and a stateful widget. My app is a stateless widget given here, and my home page is the stateful widget given. Okay, you can see that. And the my home page state is the state that we created for the my home page widget. Okay, that's all about widgets. Okay, then you can see that my home page state, I have mentioned that. Then now you can see the state method has been called. By using of the state method, we can rebuild the app UI whenever the state of our application changes. You can see that counter. Inside that counter variable, we will be storing the counter value, and whenever it increases, we called that counter increase statement inside the set state. By using this, we can rebuild anything which is written inside a build method. So the build method contains the UI code, and which will be rebuilt when we call the set state method. Okay, so you can see the first widget returned in the build method is scaffold. I have already mentioned about scaffold in the last video. Okay, you can see that the scaffold contains a app bar which we given as a title, Flutter demo homepage, and also the scaffold contains a body. The body contains all other details that we need to render in our body part of the applications. So you can see that we scaffold and a body. Inside the body we have a column. The column is used for vertical arrangement of two widgets. I have already mentioned it though. And furthermore are written. Okay, you can see that. Then next you can see that I have changed the app bar, and at the second itself the UI changes. That's the magic of Flutter, because the hot reload features works here. I already mentioned it once, I think so. By this we can increase our development speed, and also we can decrease the time required for our application to development. Okay, then we have used a center widget. This is used to center the object within the screen, and also the column widget. And inside the column widget we have used two text widget. The first text widget contains you have pushed the button this many times, and the second widget contains the counter value. Okay, the counter is the variable where we store the counter value, and below that we have used a floating action button. The floating action button is the button that has been shown in the blue color at the right end of the screen, which is used to increment the counter, and it have a property called onPressed. This property we have mentioned a function which is called as increment counter, and in the increment counter function we have given the set state method. This method is the main reason for updating the UI. I'm just going to show an example. If I remove the set state method and I have saved the code, and you can see that when we click the plus button, it will not update anymore because we have removed the set state button. So the counter value updates, but the UI will not update accordingly. That's because the set state, because the state has changed, but the build method will not rebuild its UI because we have not called the set state. So the build doesn't know whether the state has changed or not. So you can, I'm going to show that the counter increases, and just to print in a value to show you that the counter is increasing after we press the plus button, but the state will not update. That is because everything that we need to rebuild the UI must be given within the set state method. Okay, just show it. Okay, let's see it. Okay, I'm pressing it, and you can see anything there, but inside the debug console you can see the counter value is being printed there on 2 3 4 5 6. So that's the working of set state method. So please note it, it's a very important method, so we must implement it within it, and we will be using it as lot of place. Okay, now we can go to the implementation details. I already given that our to-do contains an id and a title and a description and also a status. So I'm going to create the class. We have already given these details in the second part of this series, So I'm just going to create the to do dot dart. It is our class. In this file we will declare our class. So we need our own data type. For that we are going to create this class. I have given the name as to do, and inside the class I am going to declare its properties. So first property is id. So it is an integer, and the second property is the to do title. It's a string, and the third property is description. It's also a string, and the last property is a status. So it's a boolean variable because it contains a true or false value. Okay, you can see that the properties has been mentioned. Now we need to create the constructor for this class, so that when we create an object for the class, its properties will be initiated. You know, I think you know about constructor and object initialization much more. So okay, if you don't know, please look after it because it's a very important concept, and without this concepts you can do you can't do further more in programming because it's a very important concept. Okay, so I'm just instantiating the properties of our to do class. Okay, you can see that I'm giving that id as this.id and title this.title, description this.description, and the status equal to this.status. So okay, that's all about the construction, and we need two more methods for this class: to JSON and a from JSON method. This function will be used for converting the to do object into string format, that is JSON format, and also creating a to do object from JSON format. These two methods we will be using. So these methods are required to convert our to do into JSON and also get to do from JSON. This will be implementing in our part 6, because when we need to store the to do in Docker storage, we will be using it with the help of a string format. That's why we are creating this method, and you will understand its implementation and requirement furthermore when we go to that implementation part. So just to complete this file only, I am writing it here. You will know more about it when we use these two functions. Now just please understand that two methods are used. One is to get a JSON format of our to do, and another one is to get a to do from the JSON format. That's all. Okay, please don't worry more about it, you will know much more. Okay, now we can go to the implementation part. Now I'm just removing the code they have given, and let's create a new file to store our home page. So I'm giving it as a homepage.dart file. This is the file where we show our to do in as a list of items. Okay, so I'm going to create a stateful widget for it. I have used a snippet for creating the stateful widget. You can also use this one. Please go to the extension of VS Code and please type Flutter as snippets. You will get this one. Okay, I have created a stateful widget, and you can see that the stateful widget is the I have given the name as my home page. Okay, then I'm just going to remove all the code that the Flutter has given to us, and we can write our code in place of this. Okay, so I just remove the code, and inside a material app I have given I will give the home as the home page that we created just above. Okay, then our I'm importing the home page from that file. So I'm imported the home page and I created the home page. Okay, then we have to implement the home page now. So as you all know that every application needs a scaffold. So first parameter we need to return inside the build method with scaffold. So inside the scaffold we have 2 to 3 properties. I think you know more about it. First one is the app bar property. So inside the app bar property I will give you the app bar widget to create an app bar. Okay, by using this app bar widget we can easily create an app bar. Then in the app bar it requires 2 or 3 properties. First one is a title, which gives the app bar title. So we will be giving a title for our app bar. Then inside the app bar property we have 2 or 3 properties. First one is a title, which gives the app bar title. So we will be giving a title for our app bar. So and also we need to set a background color for that bar, and also we need to change the background color for the scaffold. So firstly I give the background color for our app bar. It's the color dot. I am using an RGBO value. The RGBO stands for, first R gives the red property, and G green, and B blue. At last of stands for opacity. Okay, then I have get the color of our darkish gray, which is the color for our application. I have used this color. I think it's better to see this color. That's why I use this color. Okay, you can see that the color has been changed, and also when I just save the code, you can see that at a second itself the UI changes. That's a very good feature of Flutter, the hotel feature. And inside the upper I have given the title. Title is a text widget. I have given the to do as its title, and also I have given the center pop to type true, so our title will appear in the center of the bar. Okay, if we didn't give that center title property, it will be in the left side. Okay, that's all about the app bar part. And also next we can go to the body part. Before that I just want to change the color of our scaffold. Okay, so it seems pretty good. So I'm going to declare the color, because we need this color to be used more than once. So whenever we need something to be used more than once, please use a variable to use, because after you have done it, all implementation is done, you have copied the code and duplicated the code for more than 1 or 2 times. After the implementation you thought, oh, this color is not good, let me change the color. So when at that time you need to change all the places where you use that color. In that case, if you have used it in a variable, you need only to change it to one place. So don't forget about it. It's a small tip. Now we can implement the body part of our application. So inside the body, we will be returning a list items. That means we need a list of items that contains a list of to do. The list to do. So we will be using a Listview.builder, because we have a list of to-dos. So within that, by using that to-do, we need a list to be built. So for that, we will use the Listview.builder method. So we have a scroll direction property for this. We can use either vertical or horizontal. In our case, we will be using a vertical direction list view, and we have to define an item builder. The item builder is the thing that the Listview builder need to be built. Okay, inside us we have two property. One is the context, and the other one is a index. The index is the item index when we traverse through the list, and also we may have a property called item count. This property uses to know how much time the Listview builder to build the list. So in this case we have given a 10, so there will be a 10 list items builded using this Listview.builder. Okay, so the index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and up to 9 will be the index values. Okay, I think you got it. It's like a for loop, but we have used to implement in the creating a list. Okay, so inside the item builder I'm going to return a card, and the card is used to show our list items, because as you seen in the introduction video, you will know that small cards are used to show our each to do. So the card widget has an elevation property, which by using it we can show or bulge out the widget from the rest of the other widget. So I have given a elevation property, and also we can give margin property to our card, and we can use the symmetric property of edge instant to give horizontal and vertical margins as same values. So we will have a same margin for horizontal and vertical direction. And inside, for the child property of the card, I'm going to give an inkwell. because I want to make the widget to be touchable, or I want to detect whether the user taps or not. If you want to convert any widget to be a tappable widget or anyone where we can track the touch or the gesture of the user, we can wrap the widget in the inkwell. So you can see that I have wrapped the widget as and within an inkwell widget. So by using this widget, I can track the gesture of the user. Okay. Now we need a list. The list contains the to-dos. So I will be creating the to-do object inside this list. We have declared the to-do class just a few minutes ago. So by using this class, we will initiate a to-do object. So the first to-do object have an ID 1 and I have given the title as first to-do and the description as a just a description or something like this. Just forgot to import the to-do. Then we can give the title description ID for the to-do object. Then the status, let it be false. So okay, we have implemented the first to-do in our to-do list and I just copy the code. So now the to-dos list contains two to-do. The two to-dos are the objects of our class we have just created above. These objects contain a title, a description and also a status. So the to-dos contains two objects. Now we need to iterate to the list and make each list tile using these to-dos. Okay, so I'm going to create a function which is called as make list tile, which receives a to-do object as its parameter and also a index. This index variable is used to proceed the delete operation that we will implement later, and the make list tile will return a list tile. The list tile is the one widget that contains the basic properties that required for a list tile. So it's a very useful widget. You will know its properties after I written the code and you will understand it's very well. Please just understand that a list tile will looks like a tile that appears in most applications, which contains some properties which we can use so that we can easily implement a list tile using these properties. So I have just pasted some code because it's a very lengthy code, so it will take time and also increase the video length. So you can see that the list tile, it contains a content padding and a leading container. I will just explain before that. Let me save the code and hot reload. So if you can see this list tile, you will understand it better. So we have the Listview Builder that we created above, and inside the card we have a child 1 and I have given the 10 as the item count, but we need to change it to the to-dos dot length because we need the list items how many items that were in our to-dos list, that much list items we need. So that I have given the to-do dot length as the item count, and inside the inkwell we have created just above, we will call the make list tile function which returns a list tile, and also the make list tile requires a to-do object which will be the to-dos of index. So for each iteration we will take each of our to-do object and pass it to our make list tile function. Okay, and also we will pass the index. The index will be 0 1 2 etc. Every time it repeated the value increments. Okay, you can see the list tile, two list tile has been generated in our application. You can see that. Okay, then now you know what looks like a list tile because we will get an element like this. For that we use the list tile widget, and the list tile widget contains 2 to 3 properties. First one is a leading and then a title property and a subtitle property, etc. Okay, I think I have forgotten something else, because according to my implementation, the list tile to be is in a darkest gray color, but it looks like in a white color. Let me go and check. Please wait. So okay, I have forgot to wrap our ingval in a container. So I have wrapped it out. You can see that how beautiful is our list tile. Am I correct? Okay. Please wrap the ingval within a container. Okay. Then we will get a list tile like this one. I think it's very nice to see this list tile. Okay. So the list tile get data from this to-dos list. You can see that. I'm just going to change the second to-do because it seems to be same for it. You can now understand. Again, change the title for the second to-do. Now you can see that our to-do list contains two items, which is taken from the to-dos list. They are just created the, and we will display it using the Listview Builder. It will iterate to the to-dos list and make list tile method will be called for each iteration, which returns a list tile which contains the to-do title, to-do description, and also the delete button, also everything. Okay, the to-do tile contains a leading property. You can see that the leading properties we have given a container. Inside that we have given a circle avatar. The circle avatar is the rounded portion which we use to represent the serial number is the circle avatar. Within that we have given the child widget as a text widget, and text widget contain the index that we pass to our make list tile plus 1, because the index starts with 0, so we need to start our serial number with 1. So that's why I have added a plus 1. And inside the text widget, if we need to represent a conditional rendering in a string, we will use it with the dollar, and within curly brace we will render a variable name. By using this method we can render variable name within the string. Okay, so with so the index will be replaced by its value. Next we can go to the title properties of our list tile. The title property also require a widget. We are given a row as the title widget, and we have given it as a row because we need a tick mark icon, so that's why only we have given it a row. So we also need the title and also a tick mark after the title if it has been completed to do. You can see it now. Just a minute. If we change the status of the first to do, you can see that there will be a green icon comes the, yeah, that's because we have given the title property as a row, and inside the row we have given three widget. The first widget is a title and the second is a icon. The icon will only show if our past to do dot status is true, otherwise it will return an empty container. So that's why in the second to do we didn't see anything, because we return an empty container for that second to do. Okay, we use a conditional ternary operator to implement this one, and we also given a sized box. You can see that width 10 to give a small space between the title and the tick mark. For that only we use the sized box. Now you can see that the text description, which is the description part, which is being given within the subtitle property. This property, you can see a small difference in the title and subtitle property, because title will be somewhat bold and also the size will be little high for the font, but the subtitle will have a little bolder text and also the font size will be small. So inside the subtitle property I have given our text within a wrap. You may thinking why it is the use of wrap, because the wrap widget is used when we need to avoid the overflow. Sometimes the to-do description contains a lengthy string, so there will be a chance for overflow. To avoid that overflow, I have given the text within a wrap widget. So if you want to avoid overflows in case of horizontal arrangements of widgets, you may use wrap. Okay, don't forget about it. And also I have given a style. The style property of text widget contains a text style property which gives the options to style our text. Now at last the waste or the trash button, you can see that a trash icon is there. It is given within the trailing property, and inside that I have given an inkwell. You know about inkwell, I think so. And then inside that inkwell I have given a icon. The icon is a icon store delete. I already told you about the icon because we have a lot of icons pre-made available in Flutter. We can easily use it by using the icons dot the icon name. Okay, now we can implement our delete functionality, because when we click the trash button, our to-do must be removed from the list of to-dos. For that I am going to create a delete method. So inside the delete method we will receive the to-do which is to be deleted as a parameter, and I am just going to remove the to-do. That's all. You can remove it very easily because the data have an inbuilt function to remove elements from a list. Okay, that's a very good function. So we before that we need to give an alert to the user, because if the user has pressed the delete button unintentionally, or if he has pressed this delete button without its knowledge or by mistake, so we need to confirm whether you click the button willingly or not. So for that we are going to show an alert, and are you confirmed to delete. The alert will ask the user that are you confirmed to delete, and also there will be two buttons. For that I have called the show dialog method. By using the show dialog method we can pop up an alert. A show dialog method contains a context and also a builder. The builder will return a widget. So I will be returning alert dialog widget. The alert dialog contains some properties. First one, a title property. The title property can be any widget, and is using a text widget, and we're just given the title as alert. And the content also may contain any type of widget. I'm giving also content a text widget, and I'm just asking are you sure to delete. And now we have another property, an action. The actions contains the list of widget as its child, and I'm going to give two flat button inside the actions. The first flat button is for no case, and the second flat button is for the yes case. Okay, so inside the first flat button I have given the text as no. So are you sure to delete? No. So at that case we must pop the alert dialog, because we have pushed an alert dialog to our screen. So we must remove it. We can remove it using the navigator.pop ctx. Navigator.pop will remove the pushed alert from our screen. Okay, that's the simple method, and we must pass the context as its parameter. So the builder has a new context which is given as ctx, which we will pass as a parameter. Okay, now we need the next flat button. This is for the yes, because the user has intentionally clicked the delete button, so he must remove the to do. For that I have also given a text widget which contains the yes as its text, and when he clicked the button he must remove the to do. Okay, so for that we must hold the remove to do inside the set state, because when we removed this to do, the list must be updated and the UI must also be updated accordingly. For that we are going to call it in the set state method. So you can see that the to-dos list dot remove. This method can be used to remove an element from a list. It's very simple. The Dart provides a inbuilt function for removing an element from the list. After all this, I think our implementation has been done. We can now go and check whether the items removes perfectly or anything went wrong or not. Okay, so I'm just going to delete an item. So you can see that I'm going to test no case for the first time, and when I click no, pop-up goes, no problem, funny. And when I click yes, oh shit, something went wrong. Let me go and debug it. Okay, we have forgotten to give the navigator.pop in the yes case, so we can give that. So I think now you know you understand the functionality of navigator.pop much more clear. Am I correct? Yeah. To remove that alert from our screen, we use this function navigator.pop. Okay, please keep it in mind. We must be using it a lot of places because we need the navigator.push and navigator.pop in a lot of places. Okay, you can see that when I restart the application, the to-do list remains same because we have hard coded the to-do, so it will not remove because the to-do list contains the here. When we restart our application, it will come once more. Not a problem. We will do it in the other part, how to remove permanently and or not. So don't forget to watch the next part. Please subscribe to my channel and also share my videos. Okay, then bye.